When the moon rises in the New Jersey night sky, there's a little creature that awakens and takes flight. The little brown bat. But as our furry friend flies around, there's an unlikely enemy that's out there ready to take him out. A man-made enemy that's been killing off 600,000 bats each year. The wind turbine. How do wind turbines kill bats? Well, besides running into them, those spinning turbine blades create huge pressure drops, which can actually rupture the blood vessels in the bat's lungs. But if wind turbines are so harmful, then why are bats hanging around them? One reason is that wind turbines generate a lot of heat, and that heat attracts a lot of insects, which are the main food source for bats. Another reason is using its own set of sensory cues, a bat actually can't really differentiate between wind turbines and trees, which is where bats typically find food, mates, and shelter. So why should you care about bats dying off? Well, bats play an important ecological role as part of a trophic cascade. A trophic cascade occurs when a predator population declines, which leads to less predation on the species in the next lower trophic level. Since bats are insectivores, the trophic level below bats is made up of the many insects that they eat, like moths, mosquitoes, and wasps. And just one little brown bat can eat about 864,000 insects a year. So if 600,000 bats are dying off each year, that's a lot more insects in the world. But the trophic cascade doesn't end there. Many of the insects that bats feed on are agricultural pests. So if those insect populations increase, that means fewer agricultural crops. If we put the cascade all together, a decrease in bat populations would lead to an increase in insect populations, which would then decrease crop production. To mitigate the effects of insects, we would need more pesticides, which, besides being environmentally harmful, are expensive. In fact, estimates show that if there were no bats, the U.S. would have to spend $3.7 billion more each year on pesticides. So what can we do to save the bats? One simple solution would be to increase the kick-in speed of the turbines, so that the turbines would only start spinning at higher wind speeds. With this method, scientists from the Bats and Wind Energy Cooperative estimate that the bat fatalities could decrease by 44 to 93%. But why? Well, insects can't fly in these strong winds, so they're less likely to be found in the open near the wind turbines. As a result, bats are less likely to feed near the moving blades. Also, when wind turbines really start spinning, bats actually don't mistake them for trees anymore. So, if the wind turbines kicked in during the high wind conditions when the bats are less attracted to the turbines, then they would be less of a threat. And if the kick-in speed was only increased at nighttime when bats are the most active, then the total power loss would only be about 2%. The only question left to answer then is, would you rather lose 2% of your power or 600,000 bats a year? So what can you do? Well, you can write to your local congressman to let them know how these wind turbines are affecting the northeastern bat populations. While New Jersey has just begun to invest in power, other nearby states like New York and Pennsylvania are ranked 11th and 12th in the nation for wind power capacity, and it would make a huge difference if when we put up those turbines, we thought a little more about the little brown bat.